1,725 kilograms in the Nissan GTR, it means that that car would need 966 brake horsepower to have the same power to weight ratio as this bike. Right, let's give this a go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Supercars of London in sub-zero temperatures, but we've got blue sky and sunshine for the first time pretty much that I collected my motorbike. I've only done 200 miles in this thing. I rode it down to Motorline for filming of episode 4, which was the announcement that I bought this bike, which went live on Christmas Day. And since then, we've had rain, we've had wind, we've had storms. It has just been the worst riding conditions for a motorbike, and I've been itching to get out, not only just to film this video talking about what it's like to ride and giving you guys a point of view of being on a Ducati for the first time on my channel, but at the same time I just want to build the confidence up. I want to learn about this bike so that when we do start getting the good weather, I can be a little bit more adventurous, shall we say. And this is the perfect bike for me. Chris said down at Motorline that I could keep this for the rest of my life and still continue to learn and enjoy it. There is so much potential with this thing that I know for at least the first 6 months of ownership, I'm really going to get about 10% out of this bike. But I collected it, I had to film the video, we had to edit it, we had to send it to Michelin so that they could see the video and get excited about that final episode going live on Christmas Day. With the Michelin offices shut in the build up to Christmas, we were on such a tight time frame. Before we go out for a ride, I have to tell you this story because Magnitude Finance, who do not specialize in motorbikes, saved the entire video. They saved the entire launch and my Christmas Day on Supercars of London. So I have to say a massive shout out and thank you to Magnitude Finance. Whilst they specialize in the high performance cars, as we know in this current global pandemic, borrowing money and financing, whether it be a mortgage for a house, cars and motorbikes, it's a lot trickier, it's a slower process. Magnitude Finance try and make that as easy and seamless as possible. And well, this came from Ducati Cambridge, as we all know. They are the dealership that have my deposit for the Lamborghini Diavel, which is coming Q1 or Q2 of this year, which I'm very excited about, but also terrified. They were going through the whole finance document process with me to try and get me sorted on the Ducati finance, and it was taking too long. Magnitude Finance reached out and said, how are you getting on with the Ducati? Can we help? And they, the legends at Magnitude, I know I say this a lot and I know I do a lot of videos with Magnitude Finance, but they truly are, when it comes to making my life and your life that much easier. And this bike and the video going live on Christmas Day only exist because Magnitude Finance saved the day. I feel like now is a good opportunity so that we can go start this bike up and head out onto hopefully some dry, not that salty roads. But as you can see already, this bike is filthy, so it doesn't matter whether they are salty, dirty, whatever. Let's just go and have some fun. So good, this bike. Totally different experience to the Honda CBR 650R that I had, which was a much more like crouched position over the bike. It was a super sports bike. Oh, this is cool. 70 plate AMG GT63, the 4-door AMG GT. But the Honda that I had was this super sports bike, a low slung racer. And this is the complete opposite. It's got a really high seat position. There is no wind deflector. There is no protection from the wind. So this is not a bike for the motorway. The guys at Ducati Cambridge, where I bought this bike from, basically it was one of the first things that they said. They were like, yeah, just don't spend too much time on the motorway on this thing because it's not designed for it. And I said, oh, that's great, because my Michelin filming is an hour and a half on the M25 and the M3. So that was fun. But since then, I have not done a single motorway mile. It has been all just B roads, enjoying it, getting grips to
getting used to it, and getting to grips with the new tyres, the new power delivery, because this bike is much faster, much more responsive than the Honda. But Ducatis have this characteristic. My first proper motorbike that I was actually buying was always going to be a Ducati. To me, they are the equivalent of the Lambos and the Ferraris of the car world. They have this distinctive exhaust tone that just rumbles and oozes power. And the Hypermotard really is a perfect balance of something that I can continue to explore, something that's not going to intimidate me too much. It's not a super sports bike, relatively cheap to insure in comparison to some of the other bikes that I looked at, and all round a fantastic sounding bike, a very comfortable bike over long distances. That truck is massive. And as Chris said up at Motorline, I can ride this bike for the rest of my life and still eke out a lot of its power, performance and potential. And right now, I mean, I'm doing the bare minimum on this thing as I still get used to it. I've only done 200 miles in it. I thought I had done more, but I hadn't. Oh, this is cool. Oh, yeah, this is properly cool. This is my first real ride out in weather like this, by the way, guys. So you are experiencing this with me for the first time, which is why I'm probably getting quite excited. Every other time that I've ridden it, it's been quite damp and slippery conditions, so I've taken it very easy. But what I've wanted to do over the winter, having taken delivery of this bike, is still try and ride it as much as possible in different conditions so that I can get used to the bike, so that when summer and spring comes around, I can hopefully provide you with some more exciting content, but at the same time enjoy the bike and feel more confident on it. I think the one thing that I missed out on the Honda was that I didn't ride it enough. There just wasn't the opportunities that I had as we went into winter to get out and ride on the bike, and every time there was, I couldn't really be bothered to put all of the clothes on, get the helmet on. And now that I've got my own bike, this is my bike, I enjoy riding it more because it's mine. It's my, I'm proud of owning it. I find the excuses a lot more to get out and ride.
Since taking delivery of the Ducati, I've waited about a month to get acceptable weather to go riding in it, and whilst it is freezing, it was cool to get this bike out. But seeing as the microphone is right next to my mouth, it's basically inside my mouth in the helmet, it's so hard to get the audio levels right. So I've cut the video short. I wanted to check the footage, and fundamentally we're now here ending the video next to the Nissan GTR, because there is one simple calculation that I wanted to do that transfers the thrill and adrenaline of this bike into the world of four wheels, and that is power to weight. 112 brake horsepower, 200 kilograms wet weight is the equivalent of, if that weighed 1725, which it does, 1725 kilograms in the Nissan GTR, it means that that car would need 966 brake horsepower to have the same power to weight ratio as this bike. This bike costs 11 grand. It's terrifying. No wonder when the roads are slippery and greasy and the tyres aren't getting up to temperature that I want to take it easy. I have not got that much experience on the bike, but that is basically putting into context just how powerful this bike is. And the first time that I went with the throttle here, I nearly fell off the back. If I was to take me riding on this bike, I weigh about 90 kilograms, the power to weight would be the same as if I was sat in the driver's seat of a Lamborghini Huracan Performante. 640 brake horsepower, give or take around 1500 kilograms. That is how monstrous this bike is, and it is nowhere near the top of the line super bikes that you get from Ducati. So A first ride out on the Hypermotard gives you guys an experience of what it is like to be sitting on this and have absolutely no protection here from the wind. I got absolutely battered and it is freezing today, so I'm going to wrap the video up, but I just wanted to finish with power to weight because this is an absolute monster on two wheels with no safety net, and that is where you get the adrenaline from riding a motorbike. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and let me know whether you want to see some more action on the Hypermotard. I've got so much to learn, and by the end of the year, I want to be an expert on two wheels, popping wheelies, having fun, and bringing you some crazy bike content alongside supercars. Take care, guys. Goodbye.